There was a gig that came up in 2010, a suburb of Los Angeles. They had a festival called Sunset Junction. And my publicist, Karen Sundell, she asked me would I be into putting a band together of alumni to play with Miles. And I said, sure. And that's when it started. And then Miles, Uncle Miles was awarded a stamp by the U.S. Postal Service. So then again, they asked us again, and that was at the Hollywood Bowl. So it was with Jimmy Cobb's band, who Jimmy Cobb is the only remaining musician who played on Kind of Blue. So it was Jimmy Cobb's band and Miles' Electric Band and Marcus Miller's band. So it covered three different times of Uncle Miles' career. And so we started getting calls to tour, and here we are. It's like the all-star team, you know, it's like having I'm Michael Jordan, I've got all these great players, pass the ball, you know. But it's just fun. And it's fun to reinvent and see where the music goes with our interpretations. You know, we're not Tony Williams or Ron Carter, or Herbie Hancock, or Jack DeJohnette, or all these great players, but we just do our thing, you know, it's fun.
I was actually the last percussionist that played with Miles back in 1989 for 1 year, but it seemed like longer because I played so much music and learned so much in that 1 year. He liked the way I played. It was a tune called Jilly that we would play. And I have a cowbell and a tambourine, and I'm playing So one time he called me in his dressing room. He says, "Hey, I like what you're playing on Jilly." I said, "I like what you're playing on Jilly. I like that stuff." I said, "Oh, cool, thank you." So the next time we played it on stage, I played boom, boom, pad. So I played that much. Next time he called me in his dressing room, he says, "Don't play on Jilly." So when we got to the next time we played, we got to that song, right? So I said, "I'm gonna play it." Simple. He came over to me. He came walking around while we were playing. I said, "Uh-oh, is he going to say something crazy, tell me don't play no more?" He came over and looked at me and said, that's what he wanted, to play simple, not don't play at all, to play simple. So that's one of the things I remember when he said, "Don't play crap," meant don't play that extra crap, okay?
It's our interpretation of some of the music, some of the seminal pieces that he recorded and composed, with a mixture of alumni and new guys, you know. The majority of the band play with Miles, yeah. And then those who didn't, there's a thing that we like to, you know, we like to bring them in, you know, because they add a little something fresh and new and different. And we always feature a different trumpeter. We've had Wallace Roney, we've had Etienne Charles, we've had Christian Scott, Nicholas Payton, and now we have Sean Jones.
Yeah, I'm instead of Miles, but it's although it's big shoes to fill, I'm honored that they chose me to be the trumpet player. It's always a treat playing Miles's music, especially with folks that have played with Miles Davis. I could kind of get a sense of the vibe, how Miles led the band. I could tell that Miles was very interested in allowing those individuals to be themselves. He didn't hire people to sound like other people. He hired them to be themselves. And their personality comes through.
I had a band in Chicago. I grew up on the south side of Chicago. And it was Randy Hall and Robert Irving. It's called we call it AL7. My uncle used to call and have my mom put the phone down and listen to us rehearse. So, you know, every day, if my grades were great, we could rehearse every day of the week. And so he would call every day and then he would critique us. You know, he said, let me speak to each musician. And then one day he said, you guys want to make a record? Come to New York and make a record. We were like, yeah. So he flew us to New York and we made Man with a Horn. That was 1980.
And in 1979, I joined a band in Chicago with the nephew of Miles Davis, Vince Wilburn. That band, we went to the studio to record a demo with Tom 84, the arranger for Earth, Wind and Fire. And it was supposed to go to Maurice White to consider producing the group. But Miles heard the one song that I wrote entitled Space. And he kept calling over and over for Vince to play the song over the phone. So finally, Vince sent him a cassette, and he was very excited for us to come to New York to record the one song. So we went to New York to record, and he set up a studio, like a rehearsal space in his home, at the home of Miles. And every day, we went like a job, all day, jamming, playing, composing, collaborating on new music for 2 months. But Miles was playing the organ. He never picked up the trumpet. And so Tio Macero, the producer, said to me, this is nice, but it's nothing without Miles, with the trumpet of Miles. And so I told Miles, and he said, okay. So he came to the studio the next week, and he began to play, and he sounded like a beginner because, you know, he hadn't played in many years, his lip was gone. So they sent us home, and maybe 3 months later, around Christmas, Miles called and said, listen to this, you know. And I could tell that he's been practicing because I also play brass instruments, trombone. So that became the comeback album, The Man with the Horn. And so that was released in 1981. So I was the composer of that song, The Man with the Horn.
A lot of people don't know that he had a sense of humor. He cared about his family. He could cook, he's a great chef. Wake up in the morning, he was playing the piano. You know, his mind, the way his mind worked, he was a painter, he was an artist. He changed clothes 6 times a day. I don't know anybody that changes clothes 6 times a day, you know, because his mind, double Gemini, just worked, just thinking, forward thinker. And he'd had his trumpet out, played the piano, he'd have concert tapes on, you know, trying to push the music ahead. So we call it Miles Davis University.
I remember, you know, we'd go for tour and then I'd be home and I would do gigs around town with other people. And I remember coming home and I could hear everything so much better. It'd be like, because Miles had a way of commanding or really enticing you to listen. And it wasn't so much like, listen to me, it was somehow he had this spirit that attracted you and your attention.
He said to me, only play a note if you really mean it. And so from that I learned that you have to be very intentional and very pure and only play what's inside of your heart and nothing more. And if you don't hear anything, then the space becomes part of the music, you know.
His ideas were always trying to push the music, you know. Even if the musicians didn't understand where he was trying to go with it, it always seemed to work. He had this uncanny way of knowing, like telepathically, where the music would go. Off the stage, on the stage, it was always about the music. Music was first and foremost. You know, he sacrificed his family. He loves his family, but he sacrificed marriage, kids, to focus on music. Music was always first.